Hey everyone, it's Yvonne Emil Elizondo from Silver Moon Astrology and Transpersonal Counseling, also known as Silver Moon Counseling. Today is the Scorpio New Moon, so I'm here to share some ins and outs of the, astrology and the energy that we can hopefully anticipate from this new moon. The new moon was exact at 7:46 a.m. Central Standard Time, but of course the new moon it's still new moonin. Okay. So we're gonna talk about this Scorpio new moon. Yesterday was Halloween. I hope everyone had a really great Halloween. We didn't really do much of anything. I went out for a little bit, took Azul, my doggy, for a walk. Where is he? I think you can see him right here. He's sniffing. No, no licking the artwork. Okay. But because it was the dark moon, right? So 3 days, like around the new moon time, the moon goes dark. And so yesterday was like this creepy, dark kind of, vibe outside. And then, and today is All Saints Day. Tomorrow is All Souls Day, if you celebrate that. Dia de los Muertos here the next 2 days. So I have my saint medallions going on. I've been wearing these. Saint Therese de la Jour is my saint. And of course, my Saint Benedict or Benedictine amulet for protection. Of course, been wearing those here recently, and of course my Labradorite. But all right, so enough about me. Let's talk about the astrology because this is a very scorpionic moon. So let me show you. We do have some interesting astrology associated with this new moon. I'm not going to dive into all of the astrology, but I do want to show a pattern here that I think is going to be indicative of this lunar month. Okay, so here is the new moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is fixed water. It's deep, brooding, okay, really, goes into the feels water. But here are the two different aspects, okay, that I want to focus on. Here we have Mars. Okay, Mars is currently in the last bits of Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal water. And don't know if you can hear my neighbor driving off. Okay. And then Mars is opposing Pluto at the very last ends of Capricorn as well. So Capricorn is cardinal earth. So we have this cardinal water and cardinal earth. I'm going to talk about what that means. The other part that we also have, the other aspect, not part, is that we have this Venus, okay, in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is mutable fire, movable fire, and that is Venus is opposing Jupiter retrograde in mutable Gemini. Okay, all right, so what does this all mean? So I'm going to start off by saying that we have two very different feels for the Scorpio new moon. The first one is going to be the Mars, Cancer Mars opposing Pluto in Capricorn. This is a little bit more of a challenging kind of vibe, okay? And if you have any planets in the cardinal signs, okay, so especially in the last bits of cardinal signs, you're probably going to be feeling the moon this way, maybe a little bit more challenging, more irritation, anger, control, fear. If you have more of your natal planets associated with the mutable signs, especially in Sagittarius, okay, and Jupiter, you're probably going to be feeling this, and Jupiter and Gemini, a little bit more ease, maybe overindulging, being a little bit more dramatic, or just, so I mean, I'll dive into it, but basically those are the two different ways that this Scorpio new moon can show up. So let's talk about the new moon. Let's talk about Scorpio energy, and then we'll dive into the various ways that this moon can show up. All right, so where do we start? Let's start with the new moon. Again, new moon, every time I say this, it's the beginning of the lunar month. It's a great time to set intentions. We really want to be, it's more of an internal energy. The moon is dark. It's not reflecting any of the light from the, from the sun. So for me, I don't do any, big spiritual work during this time that is going to to emphasize on sending energy out. But I do spend more time with myself spiritually and focusing internally, maybe doing some meditation, some prayers, within myself, more private. Okay. Everybody's different, but the new moon for me is more of a challenging time with energy out because we don't have the reflection of, the light of the full moon, obviously, right? Okay, so it's a great time to set intentions. So yesterday was Halloween, right? So I have to thank my friend Lou Vega. Thank you so much. Okay, he sent me these really, really, really cool teas for Halloween. Yes, I love that one. And then, of course, this one because all of my cars, except the current one, have been standard, have been manual. So thank you so much, Lulu. Really, really love the t-shirts. And so I jumped into that because let's talk about Scorpio energy, right? So we're in Scorpio season, okay? Let's talk about Scorpio. So Scorpio is fixed deep water. Okay. Water, of course, the element represents emotion. So Scorpio energy is very much about things that are, hidden. It represents death. It represents the occult. It represents, the things that we don't really want to look at. Okay. Like demons and ghosts and the occult. All right. So all of the themes of Halloween and the first few days here of November, where we're celebrating those that have passed on, that have transitioned, whether family members, saints, loved ones, friends, whatever it may be. This is a time when we celebrate those, right? So Scorpio energy is very in tune with death. It's very in tune with the subconscious. It's very much about keeping those things esoteric and hidden. All right. So that's really the energy. So if you have any Scorpios in your life, you may know that they tend to resonate to maybe some more of the gothic themes, right? They tend to be more very, very, exclusive or secretive. Okay. They really do hold their emotions in until they don't. And then it comes out. Now, from my perspective, Scorpio energy is ruled by Mars. Mars is the primary, ruler of Scorpio. We can co-rule with Pluto. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. But for me, it's the aspect of Mars, right? So that Martian energy, it's about being laser focused. It's really obsessive almost in its direction. It can really have that fiery, and I don't mean fiery like fire, but just think about fiery water, right? So boiling water, fire, water. Hello, Yvonne. Yes, of course, it's boiling water. So there's this heat element, okay, to Scorpio water when it gets activated by Mars in a more heat way, right? And more agitated, easily irritable, frustrated, quick with the tongue, quick with the action, okay, quick with the stinger. But Mars and Scorpio can also be, as I said, very laser focused, very tuned into loyalty, really recognizing where the boundaries are. Sometimes the boundaries are too tight. With Scorpio, you kind of have to break through the shell to get, a Scorpio to open up their hearts, for you. So the Scorpio energy is very much about deep emotional waters. All right. So that's really the vibe for this Scorpio new moon, right? So because it is Scorpio season, because we are, celebrating Halloween and, Dia de los Muertos, and we're celebrating our ancestors, this Scorpio moon is a really great time to take a look at you. Okay. Yes, it's a great time to take a look at your ancestors, which we're going to focus on a little bit. But this is a really great time to, look within. All right. And look within and say, okay, what parts of me have run their course? Right? What relationships have run their course? What attitudes have run their course? What part of me is just, it's dwindling, it's crunchy, it's dying. It doesn't need to, it doesn't need to, I need to let it go, to release it, right? Likewise, what parts, like, what people in my life, what what other aspects of my life are no longer really fulfilling me, okay, in the way that I want to be fulfilled. So that's a really it's a good time to do that with the Scorpio moon, because it is about releasing what isn't really alive and nourishing anymore, right? For Scorpio is taking a look at those parts that are dying, okay, or that have ceased to exist for the most part. So that's one thing that you can do for this Scorpio new moon. But it can also be a time when we're wanting to dive into the subconscious, right? Maybe seeking some therapy or doing some hypnosis work or doing some, meditative work, all right? Or just tapping into more of, wanting to take a look at your astrology chart. So if you're interested, we can, work with, hit me up for a consultation. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's about looking at the more esoteric type aspects of life, whether it's your own secretive stuff or whether it's, diving into some, practices that are going to help you tap into the subconscious, for example, right? And why would we want to tap into the subconscious? Well, you do want to be careful when you do that. So I suggest that you work with a professional, okay? If you're going to do any sort of hypnotic work or, deep meditative work, because sometimes when we tap into what's really hidden, we start realizing that there's a lot there that we didn't know was there. And sometimes we need help processing that. So again, work with a professional if you're going to do that. Now, let's talk about the ways that this new moon can show up, because there are different vibes here, right? So as I mentioned, we have this last piece of, this Mars and Pluto opposing each other. Okay, so Mars in the last bits of Cancer, and then Pluto in the last bits of Capricorn. All right, so these two signs are cardinal signs. So the cardinal signs that are probably going to feel this are the ones that are probably going to feel this energy the most. Cardinal is Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. So if you have, any significant planets, or if this is especially highlighted, part of your chart, you're probably going to feel that more. So let's talk about these two energies. So Mars is that energy of action. It's motivation. It's, going out there and doing it, right? It's execution. But it can also be fire, and it can also be separating, and it can also be creating drama. Okay. It's the Lord of war. It's the Lord of, anger and all of this fueling kind of energy. When Mars opposes, okay, Pluto's about control. It's about fear. It's about obsession. Okay, it wants to control. It wants to bring that Mars energy to a halt. And I don't mean like a healthy halt. I mean like we're going to take whatever energy is showing up with Mars, and we're going to obsess over it. So we're going to make it really intense and heavy, very dense. So those of you, sorry, that's my doggy asking me. You may be feeling some of that anger and agitation, frustration, okay? And I want to say be cautious with that, okay? Because Scorpio energy naturally can dive into that more broody essence, okay? That broody energy, that broody emotional vibe. And so that's what you may be feeling during this new moon, is a little bit more broody, a little bit more, in your feels, just, not very settled, angry, okay? You may be focusing on details that truly aren't genuinely real, because Pluto likes to distort things, okay? Especially when it comes to those more aggressive feelings. So you might feel a little bit more dramatic. You might feel more, look, I got to tell you, I have, so this Pluto, okay, is sitting right on top of my natal Mercury, to the degree. And so I have been really struggling with some of those more like harsher thoughts, okay, about reality, about the world, about the state of everything, okay, the last few days. The good news is that this Mars and Pluto is going to come exact, and it's going to start to ease up once this aspect starts to separate by the 3rd of November. So we only have a few days left here, okay? Again, perfect time during the election, right? Great. All we need is more drama and agitation, but hopefully it won't be as bad as it won't be as bad. Okay. Now, that's one side of this moon. The other version of this moon that could potentially show up is the Venus in Sagittarius opposing Jupiter retrograde and Gemini. And so those of you that have mutable placements might be feeling this more. So the mutable signs are going to be Gemini, and I can't think right now, Sagittarius, Virgo, and what's the other one? What's the other one? Oh my gosh, I can't think. Pisces. Could not remember the mutable signs. Okay. So these are more, again, movable signs. So those of you might be feeling this energy, and this energy involves Venus, and Venus in Sagittarius is very much about Venus-y. Venus represents love, connection, those things that you want. And Venus in Sagittarius typically gets what she wants. Okay. So these are the two benefics, right? So these are the two more beneficial planets, Venus and Jupiter. Even though Jupiter is retrograde, you know, in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini, especially retrograde, might overextend itself. So here we might see the, I want what I want and I want it now and I'm going to have a bunch of it. So like, yeah, like a lot of chocolate all at once, like the whole chocolate Halloween bag. I didn't do that. Okay. All right. So yeah, I kind of did. But anyway, so you might feel more of this overindulgence, right? I want what I want, more pleasure oriented type of Scorpio moon. You may feel that you have overextended or overpromised yourself or overcommitted. That's the word. And Gemini has a trouble with commitment. So Gemini has issues with commitment. So does Venus and Sagittarius. I'm just saying they have issues with commitment. So you might find that you have overcommitted yourself and now, oopsie. Okay. So these are the two different ways that this Scorpio new moon can show up for you. Again, this is very polarizing energy, right? It's very distinct energy, fear, anger, control versus overindulgence. And I want what I want. And, you know, yeah. So what do we do with this? Well, I'm going to show you a couple of things. Some crystals to work with, okay, are obsidian. Love my obsidian towers, okay? Obsidian is one that you can work with. Hematite is also very scorpionic. It's very heavy. It's very dense, which is very appropriate for the energy right now. The other one is tourmaline. Okay, so a lot of the darker stones during this time, obviously, because it represents like the dark, you know, fall is coming in, the energy of, you know, gothic and just deep. And I also love to work with garnet. Okay, so this is actually red, but it's so dark. Okay, like vampire blood, I guess. Vampires have blood? No, they suck blood. Dark vampire? Just go with it. Garnet, deep red. Okay, so all right, so what we can do is during this time, depending on how it's showing up in your chart, right? If you're experiencing more of that Mars Pluto, be more aware that your thoughts may not be real. And I don't mean that you're like hallucinating. You could be hallucinating and delusional, but the likelihood of that happening, well, I don't know. Okay. Go talk to your therapist. But you really want to question the thoughts that you're having. You really want to be in tune with those emotions. Know that that energy that's coming up, okay, know that that frustration or irritability is going to pass, okay, but you can use that in a constructive way, right? Whenever we're having some difficult, challenging emotions, you can offer those up for other people. I was just, you know, having this chat yesterday about when we have difficult, you know, fear-based, you know, I need control over my life and I just can't seem to find that I have control over my life. Offer those feelings, right? It's a little bit of a form of sacrifice. Okay. It's, you know, you're taking the hit, I don't know, so that, you know, your friend could feel better, or I know that what I'm feeling right now isn't permanent. It's not, you know, it's temporary. So even though my discomfort is, you know, happening right now, I hope that my mom has a beautiful day. Okay. Or I'm going to send this beautiful energy. So, you know, my friend can feel better because they've been sick for a while. Right. So we can transform this more difficult energy by transforming it into a more positive, loving energy. If you're experiencing the overindulgence of this Venus and Jupiter opposition, Jupiter retrograde opposition, then maybe it's about being more mindful about setting boundaries for yourself, right? So if you know you can, no, do not bring chocolate into the house. If you know you can't just eat one, I can't just eat one. Okay, then don't bring chocolate into the house. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, I have to say, my beautiful neighbor Leslie, she gave us some treats last night, which I was so grateful. I can't have chocolate in the house. I ate all of it. Thanks, Leslie. Anyways, so if you know you're going to be enjoying pleasure, then set boundaries for yourself. But anyhow, those are some things to work with for this, new moon. All right. But because it's also we're celebrating our ancestors, okay? What I would encourage you to do is take some of your crystals, okay? They don't have to be obsidian. You can use some crystals. You cannot use some crystals. Light yourself a little candle. Write the names of your loved ones that have passed, or friends, or anybody that you want to honor. Okay. It could be the saints. It could be the angels. Okay. It could be, anyone, your pets, anybody that has crossed on and has, transitioned over, and let's honor them today. That's really, really, for me, the core of what this new moon is about. It's honoring that essence of death. That's honoring that essence of the unknown. It's the essence of what happens when we cross the veil. Okay. And that's all of the scorpionic energy that we're dealing with. So all right, everyone, that's it. I know this has been big lengthy, so if you stayed tuned till the end, I really, really appreciate it. If you want a consultation or you want to just check up on me a little bit more, you will be able to find me at silvermooncounseling.org. That's silvermooncounseling.org. My website is still under construction, obviously, because I work very slow. But if not, you can, email me. I'll put it in the description. Okay. All right, everyone. Enjoy this beautiful Scorpio new moon, and we will see you next time. Take care. Blessed be.